based on a true story, or maybe not. It was a cold, rainy night, 1:17 a.m. Daniel was on his last route of the night, the engine humming a low, tired tune against the sound of the rain and distant thunder. Only the passengers were left. An old woman sitting quietly near the front, her reflection hazy in the window, and a man in a dark hoodie way in the very back, completely, unnervingly still. The bus rattled and swayed down the empty countryside road, cutting through the darkness. The streetlights they passed were few and far between, flickering as if they were about to give up. Daniel could hear the rhythmic tapping of the rain on the roof, a constant, lonely drumbeat, but not a single sound, not even a cough or a rustle from his passengers. The silence was getting heavy. Then, as the bus approached the next stop, a single, lonely light in the gloom, the old woman slowly got to her feet. She shuffled toward him, her steps unsteady. When she reached his side, her face was pale, almost translucent in the dim cabin light. Her hands were shaking. She leaned in close, her voice a fragile whisper against the noise of the engine. "Driver, skip the next stop, please." Daniel frowned, confused. It was against regulations. "Why?" he asked, keeping his voice low. The woman's voice trembled, her eyes darting towards the back of the bus. "That man, the one in the back, he hasn't moved for an hour, not an inch." Daniel's gaze flickered to the rearview mirror. The hooded man was still there, exactly as before, head down, shoulders slumped, motionless. A chill crept up Daniel's spine, but he tried to brush it off. It was late. The man was probably just asleep. He turned back to reassure the old woman, to tell her everything was fine, but she was gone. He blinked. There was no sound of footsteps, no hiss of the door opening. She had simply vanished. Now there was only one passenger left on the bus. Or was there? The tension in the cabin felt thick enough to choke on. The bus creaked and groaned as it rolled on, and the wind began to howl faintly outside, as if trying to tell him something. The rain lashed against the windows harder now. Daniel's heart began to beat a little faster. He kept glancing in the mirror. The hooded figure remained, a dark, silent statue in the back row. Finally, they reached the final stop at the edge of town, the end of the line. The streetlights here were all out, plunging the street into near total darkness, save for the bus's own headlights. Daniel cleared his throat, his voice coming out a little shaky. "Hey, buddy, end of the line." Silence. No answer. "Sir, this is the last stop." Still nothing. With a sigh, Daniel unbuckled his seatbelt and stood up. He walked down the narrow aisle, the air growing colder and heavier with each step. His own footsteps echoed like thunderclaps in the dead quiet of the bus. When he finally reached the back seat, he froze. The man's dark hoodie was soaked through, dripping water onto the seat, even though the roof wasn't leaking. A small puddle was forming on the floor. Hesitantly, Daniel reached out a hand, about to shake the man's shoulder, and then the man's head slowly, mechanically tilted up. His face, it wasn't human. There were no eyes, no nose, no mouth. Just a canvas of pale, stretched skin, and carved crudely into that blank face was a wide, grotesque smile. Daniel stumbled back, a scream caught in his throat. The lights inside the bus began to flicker violently, striving between light and shadow. In the driver's mirror, in one of those flashing moments of light, he saw it. In the reflection, there were the figures standing right behind him again, the old woman and the faceless man. The next morning, police found the bus abandoned near a bridge. The doors were wide open, swaying in the wind. The headlights were still on, cutting the weak beams into the morning fog. There was no sign of Daniel. The only thing they found was a small, handwritten note left neatly on the driver's seat. It said, he got off, but he wasn't alone. Would you ride the last bus of the night? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more chills. See you in the next one.